The Sunday roast was perfect as always. Mom had outdone herself. Prime rib, roasted vegetables, homemade Yorkshire puddings. The dining room table was set with the good china, and all 12 family members had gathered for our monthly dinner tradition. I sat between Aunt Linda and my cousin's new wife, carefully cutting my meat while Dad held court at the head of the table. 32 years I've been consulting for Harrison Industries, Dad announced proudly, his second scotch making him expansive. Started when old man Harrison ran the place. Now his son James has taken over, and we're still their primary business consultancy firm. That's loyalty. That's building real relationships. That's impressive, Dad, my brother Eric said, raising his wine glass. Real business is about long-term client relationships, not quick schemes. The dig was aimed at me. It was always aimed at me. Speaking of real business, Uncle Tom jumped in. Eric tells me you made senior consultant this year. That's excellent progression. Eric beamed. 5 years at the firm and I'm finally getting the recognition. Real career advancement, real salary increases. That's what happens when you commit to legitimate work. I took a sip of water and said nothing. Now Eric understands what it takes to succeed, Dad continued, gesturing with his fork. Structure, mentorship, climbing the ladder properly. Not like some people who think they can skip all the steps. Mom caught my eye sympathetically, but she didn't say anything. He never did. How's your thing going, Riley? Aunt Linda asked, her tone suggesting she was fulfilling a social obligation. Still doing the computer work? It's going well, I said simply. Riley runs a tech startup, Eric explained to his girlfriend with barely concealed amusement. Or claims to. Something about cloud services. We're not really sure what it actually does. I build enterprise cloud infrastructure solutions, I said evenly. Data management and scalability architecture for large corporations. Dad laughed. See? None of us understand a word of that. That's how you know it's not a real business. Real business, you can explain it simply. I help companies optimize their operations and reduce costs. Simple. Maybe you should try to explain it simpler, Riley, Eric suggested with false helpfulness. Use terms regular people understand. Not everyone speaks tech jargon. I've tried, I said quietly. For 8 years. 8 years, Dad repeated, shaking his head. 8 years of playing with computers in your apartment, pretending to run a company. Meanwhile, Eric's built a real career with real advancement. Uncle Tom nodded sagely. There's something to be said for traditional career paths. Proven models. Not these fly-by-night internet things. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. The problem with your generation, Dad continued, warming to his topic, is you think you can reinvent the wheel. You think you know better than people who've been in business for decades. You want shortcuts. I don't want shortcuts, I said. I just built something different. Different. Dad's voice rose slightly. Riley, you sit in your apartment all day on your laptop. You have no office, no employees we've ever met, no tangible product we can see. How is that a business? I have 43 employees across 3 offices, I said calmly. You've never asked to meet them. Eric snorted. 43 employees. Right. And I'm the Pope. You have a few freelancers you hire occasionally, Dad corrected dismissively. That's not employees. Employees have benefits, salary structures, career progression. Not whatever arrangement you have with your laptop friends. The phone buzzed again. Then again. Riley, phone away please, Mom said gently. Family time. I pulled it out to silence it and saw the caller ID. James Harrison. My stomach dropped. Sorry, I said, standing. I need to take this. It's important. More important than family? Dad's face reddened. This is exactly what I'm talking about. No boundaries, no respect for personal time. This is why your business model doesn't work. I'll be quick, I said, stepping into the hallway. James, I answered. Is everything okay? Riley, I'm so sorry to bother you on a Sunday. James Harrison's voice was tight with stress. We have an emergency. The cloud migration we discussed. We need to move up the timeline. Our current infrastructure just crashed. We're dead in the water. My heart raced. How bad? Complete system failure. We're losing $10,000 a minute until we're back online. I know we weren't supposed to start the migration until next month, But we need you now. Can your team mobilize tomorrow? Yes, I said without hesitation. I'll have the team ready by 6 a.m. We'll get you back up first, then execute the full migration. You're a lifesaver. I'll need the emergency contract signed tonight. Can you handle that? I'll have my legal team send it within the hour. Thank God. Riley, I don't know what we'd do without Vertex Cloud. You've built something incredible. I ended the call and stood in the hallway processing. Harrison Industries, Dad's biggest client, the account he'd bragged about for 3 decades. They'd come to me 6 months ago frustrated with their outdated systems. Dad's firm handled their business strategy, but they needed technical infrastructure expertise he couldn't provide. I told him about it. He dismissed it as playing with computers. I walked back into the dining room. Every eye turned to me. Everything okay? Mom asked. Fine. Just a client emergency. Dad scoffed. A client emergency on Sunday night. This is what I mean. No work-life balance. Real businesses respect personal time. Some emergencies can't wait, I said, sitting down. What kind of emergency could a computer business have? Eric asked mockingly. Did someone's website go down? I cut into my roast. Something like that. Dad launched back into his lecture. This is why I've always told you, Riley, consulting is the pinnacle of business services. We provide strategic guidance that actually moves the needle. Not technical band-aids. Real, transformative business solutions. Like what you do for Harrison Industries? I asked carefully. His face lit up. Exactly. Harrison Industries is a perfect example. I've been consulting for them for 32 years. When old man Harrison passed and James took over, I helped him transition leadership. Distrust. That's value. They seem like a good company, I said neutrally. The best. James Harrison knows quality consulting when he sees it. That's why he's kept us on retainer for over 3 decades. That's loyalty you can't buy. My phone buzzed again. A text from James. Contract sent. Need signature by midnight for legal. You're saving our company. I texted back. You'll have it in 30 minutes. Riley. Dad's voice cracked like a whip. Put that damn phone away. This is family dinner, not your little computer game time. Something in me snapped. It's not a game, Dad, I said quietly. It's never been a game. Oh, here we go, Eric muttered. The defensive speech about how her laptop hobby is actually a business. Stop pretending you run a real business. Dad's voice exploded across the table, his face purple. You sit in an apartment playing with computers. You have no real clients, no real revenue, no real anything. It's been 8 years of this delusion, Riley. 8 years of us watching you waste your potential on this fantasy. The table went silent. Mom's hand was pressed to her chest. Aunt Linda stared at her plate. You want to know about real business? Dad continued, standing now. I'll tell you about real business. Tomorrow I have a meeting with James Harrison. We're discussing a 3-year contract extension worth $2.4 million. That's real business, Riley. That's what success looks like when you do things the right way. I stood up slowly, pulling my laptop from my bag. What are you doing? Dad demanded. Showing you real business, I said calmly. I opened the laptop and pulled up the Vertex Cloud client portal. Harrison Industries. Signed with us 6 months ago. Cloud infrastructure modernization. Contract value, $18.7 million over 3 years. Dad's face went slack. They came to us because their systems were outdated and vulnerable. Your firm does business strategy. That's valuable. But you can't build cloud architecture. You can't scale their data systems. You can't protect them from cyber threats. I turned the screen toward him. James Harrison is my client, Dad. Has been for 6 months. Eric leaned over to look. His face went white. That's a real contract. With Harrison's signature. James called me 5 minutes ago, I continued. Their entire system crashed. They need emergency cloud migration starting tomorrow at 6 a.m. He apologized for calling on a Sunday, but they're losing $10,000 a minute. Dad sat down heavily. James Harrison is your client. One of 47 enterprise clients, yes. Fortune 500 companies that need infrastructure expertise your consulting firm can't provide. Uncle Tom was reading over Eric's shoulder. This contract shows. Riley, this shows $18.7 million in revenue from one client. That's just Harrison, I said. Vertex Cloud's total annual revenue is $340 million. We have 43 employees across offices in San Francisco, Austin, and Seattle. We're hiring 12 more engineers next month. Mom's hands were shaking. $340 million? Last year was $340 million. This year we're projecting $425 million. I pulled up another screen. Here's our client list. You'll recognize most of these names. Aunt Linda gasped. That's Microsoft is on there. Amazon. Netflix. We build the infrastructure that powers their cloud operations, I said simply. Dad's voice was barely a whisper. The 3-year extension I'm proposing tomorrow. The $2.4 million deal. James never mentioned. He won't be extending with your firm, I said quietly. Harrison Industries is restructuring their consulting relationships. They're consolidating tech and strategy consulting under single providers. They're going with Vertex Cloud's partner firm. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. You're taking my client? Dad's voice cracked. I'm not taking anything. James made a business decision. Your firm focuses on traditional business strategy. That's valuable, but it's not enough anymore. Companies need integrated solutions, strategy, technology, security, all working together. You can't provide that. Eric found his voice. Wait. You're saying because of your contract, Dad's firm is losing Harrison Industries. I'm saying Harrison Industries made a strategic decision about their future needs. Dad's face had gone from red to gray. 32 years. I've consulted for them for 32 years. And they valued that relationship, I said gently. But business evolves. Their needs changed. You couldn't meet them. I could. The $2.4 million contract, Dad said faintly. That's 40% of our annual revenue. If we lose Harrison, you'll need to find other clients, I finished. Or pivot your service offerings. That's what happens in business. Uncle Tom was scrolling through my client list. Riley, this is real. This is all real. You're not playing with computers. You're running a massive tech company. I tried to tell you, I said. 8 years ago I said I was starting a company. You called it playing with computers. 6 years ago I invited you to our series of funding celebration. You were busy. 4 years ago I mentioned Microsoft was our client. Dad changed the subject to Eric's promotion. Eric's voice was hollow. You're saying you've been running a multi-million-dollar company this entire time and we thought? You thought I was unemployed, I finished. You thought I was delusional. You thought I was wasting my life. My phone buzzed. James again. Need that signature ASAP. Our board is breathing down my neck. I started packing my laptop. I need to go. Emergency contract to sign. Team to mobilize for tomorrow's crisis deployment. Riley, wait, Dad said desperately. We need to talk about this. The Harrison account. Maybe there's a way we can work together. A partnership between our firms. We could. You called my business a fantasy 15 minutes ago, I said quietly. You told me to stop pretending. You've spent 8 years dismissing everything I built. I didn't know, he said, his voice breaking. You never told me it was this big. I told you I had corporate clients. You laughed. I told you I was hiring employees. You said they were laptop friends. I told you I was expanding to multiple offices. You said I needed to get a real job. I shouldered my bag. You didn't want to know, Dad. You wanted me to fail so Eric could be the successful one. Mom was crying openly now. Riley, please. We made a mistake. We'll do better. Will you? Or will you just be proud now that you know there are millions of dollars involved? I headed for the door. The Harrison contract. Dad called after me. When does our contract end? Your current retainer expires in 2 weeks, I said. James plans to notify you tomorrow. I'm sorry you had to hear it from me first. 2 weeks, Dad repeated numbly. 32 years and it ends in 2 weeks. That's business, I said. Companies evolve. They outgrow their old partners. It's nothing personal. Eric's voice stopped me at the door. Is it though? Nothing personal? You took Dad's biggest client. I turned back. I didn't take anything. Harrison Industries came to me because they had needs your firm couldn't meet. That's not personal. That's business. You just told me that's what matters. Real business, legitimate work, proven results. I looked at Dad. I built something real. Finally you believe it. But only because it cost you something. The last thing I heard as I left was Dad's voice. 32 years. Gone. The emergency deployment went flawlessly. By 6 a.m. Monday my team had Harrison Industries back online. By noon we'd begun the full cloud migration. By end of week they were operating on completely modernized infrastructure. James Harrison sent a personal thank you. You saved us. Whatever you need, however we can support Vertex Cloud's growth, we're in. Dad's consulting firm received the contract termination notice Monday morning. By Friday they'd laid off 3 consultants. By month's end, 2 more clients had followed Harrison's lead, consolidating with tech-forward consulting firms. Eric called me once. Dad's talking about early retirement. The firm might not survive this. Are you happy now? I wasn't happy. I was just tired. Tired of being dismissed. Tired of being compared. Tired of my success being invisible until it damaged theirs. 3 months later, Vertex Cloud was acquired by Oracle for $890 million. The news made TechCrunch, Forbes, and the Wall Street Journal. Dad's firm closed 6 months after that. My family's congratulations messages went unanswered. I'd spent 8 years building something real while they called it playing with computers. Now they knew better. But knowing came too late.